Okay, let's go over the directions for the project. Once again, I apologize that I'm not there to go over them in person, so it's even more important that you follow along with the video. If at any point you have questions, our guest teacher might not know those answers, so I really encourage you to use this as a resource to go back and see, okay, exactly what is it that Mr. Hildinger wants here. And then I would say also that everything I'm saying on this is on the slideshow, so feel free to use that as a resource as well. All right, let's get started. So if you remember from the lecture from yesterday, we talked about sites of encounter, and we talked about really they're this place or places where interactions or transactions or exchanges of ideas take place. And so a really good example is the Galleria Mall, right? If the Galleria Mall wasn't there, it would just be a big field full of dirt and weeds and things like that. And would we have thousands of people going there every day and gathering? We wouldn't, right? And the reason we have that is because it has become essentially a site of encounter for Roseville, a place where people go and talk to each other or buy goods or exchange certain technologies like at the Apple store and things like that. So really don't complicate this. Remember, it's history. Just keep it simple. A site of encounter is a place where people come together and exchange things. So what is a site of encounter? Historians give the name sites of encounter to places where merchants, travelers, and scholars exchange products, technologies, and ideas. Your project description. During the medieval period, many societies began to interact at sites of encounter. Historians give the name site of encounter to places where merchants, travelers, and scholars exchange products and technologies and ideas. In this activity, you will be demonstrating that Roseville is a site of encounter by providing evidence of places where products, ideas, and technology are traded in Roseville. So we're going to take this historical idea and we're going to apply it to today in Roseville, okay, and show you that this is something that exists in modern times. It's not just a part of like ancient history. It's actually a part of our everyday lives. So in a small group, you'll be making a map featuring places in Roseville, California, where these ideas and products and technologies are exchanged. Your first step will be to brainstorm a list before you start adding locations to the map. It's very important that you do the brainstorming first, and we have a handout for that. Remember, cell phones aren't the only form of technology in a society. Something as simple as a shovel was a form of technology in some early civilizations. So think about that. Shovel is technology. If you've ever tried to dig a hole, you would definitely be convinced that a shovel is a better use, a better way to dig a hole. And so it is a useful technology. Where are shovels sold? They're sold at like Lowe's, Home Depot. So you could definitely use that as one of your technology pins. So there's these groups here. Feel free to use this if you want. If your group is working hard together and you don't think you need this, that's fine. I would just recommend this for groups that maybe are having a hard time getting started or holding people accountable. So here's that brainstorming step. You have a handout for this. You're going to answer these questions. So what are some locations? I need 5 where people exchange or trade products. And then we need 5 where technologies are traded. Remember, I mentioned Lowe's as a good example because they have shovels or lawnmowers or whatever technology you want to talk about. And then there's some where people exchange ideas, a coffee shop like Starbucks, a school, a library. All of these would be great examples. Once you have the brainstorming sheet done, you're probably ready to start getting your map done and pinning these 15 locations on the map. So you will Google the location you want to find. So let's say that on your brainstorming sheet, let's say for this one, you had Lowe's on there. You would then need to look up Lowe's near me, and you would click on it. And when you do, the location will pop up and you'll get an exact address like down here where it says, Safeway, Wood Creek Oaks. And then you'll see these pins, and that'll let you roughly put it in the correct place on your map where it belongs. Again, on your map, you're going to have Highway 65 and 80 labeled. And I have a hard copy on construction paper of me kind of creating my map, and the guest teacher will definitely show you what that looks like. So again, don't worry, 80 and 65, they don't need to be exact, but they should start like in the bottom corner of your page and go in the correct direction. And 65, you want to make sure these things are all kind of roughly accurate. That way, when you're pinning any of these other locations, they're good reference points for you. Use the embedded Google map to find the location on the map. I already talked about that. All right, so then you're going to also want to label your map. Roseville is a site of encounter. I'd put that at the very top of your map. You're going to add a compass rose. It'll probably be a little smaller than this one here, but you definitely want to orient yourself in terms of north, south, west, and east. So I'd put a little compass rose down here. And then, like I mentioned just a second ago, you're going to draw Interstate 80 and Highway 65 to the best of your ability. Those will allow you to kind of start to pin some other things around those locations. Every location you look up on your map is going to have 80 and 65. So if you see that it's like just below 65, you know that it's somewhere over here, right? Draw in some major streets. We have Douglas, Sierra College, Washington, Vernon, Pleasant Grove. Okay, so you'll want to look for those on here, and it'd be good to add those. And again, look at my example. I added those, or I added one of those for you to get you started. You're going to add a key to your map. So you're going to end up having 3 different symbols for yours. So you're going to have a symbol for trade products. You're going to have a symbol for trade technologies and a symbol for traded ideas. That way on your map, if it's like a green triangle represents trading of ideas, I know that when I see all 5 green triangles, that those are places where ideas are exchanged. And then the last step to this project, which I should be back by the time you're dealing with this particular step, but just in case you do get there, when you're all done with mapping everything on there, you're going to write a single paragraph explaining why Roseville is a site of encounter. Be sure to include a topic, sentence, and conclusion. So for example, Roseville is a site of encounter because, and then you talk about it, and then you'll conclude. You also use the same locations you placed on your map as evidence, and then you're going to glue this paragraph to the back of your map. Again, I know I'm saying a lot and I'm saying it kind of fast, so it's meant for you to pause, rewind, talk about it with your group, and use the slideshow to help figure out the project. Also, the guest teacher has some directions as well, and a hard copy of my map that I just started, just in case you need help getting started. Hope that helps. If you have any questions, please email me. I'll do my best to try and respond to some of your emails. If not, we will work on this when I get back on Monday. Thank you, guys.